Hallelujah. 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 The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The angel Gabriel was sent from God to a town of Galilee called Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed to a man named Joseph of the house of David. And the virgin's name was Mary. And coming to her, he said, "Hail, full of grace, the Lord is with you." She was greatly troubled at what was said, and pondered what sort of greeting this might be. And the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God. Behold, you will conceive in your womb and bear a son, and you shall name him Jesus. He will be great, and will be called Son of the Most High. And the Lord God will give him the throne of David, his father, and he will rule over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end." But Mary said to the angel, "How can this be, since I have no relations with a man?" And the angel said to her in reply, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. Therefore the child to be born will be called Holy, the Son of God. Behold, Elizabeth, your relative, has also conceived a son in her old age. And this is the 6th month for her who is called barren. For nothing will be impossible for God." Mary said, "Behold, I am the handmaid of the Lord. May it be done to me according to your word." Then the angel departed from her. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Today is the Solemnity of the Immaculate Conception. So this is the day that we celebrate the fact that Mary was conceived without sin. Sometimes people will hear about the Immaculate Conception and they think we're talking about Jesus being miraculously conceived in Mary's womb. That's actually not what this solemnity is. It's about the conception of Mary and her mother's womb. And as Catholics, we believe that she was conceived without contracting original sin. And she never sinned throughout her whole life. And this is what we believe. And really, even though there are many Christians today that don't believe this, this was always the faith, even in the early church. When you read the early church fathers, you can see this. There was the only debate really that ever came up with this was how exactly was she preserved from sin throughout her whole life. You may have heard some people say things like, even St. Thomas Aquinas did not believe in the Immaculate Conception. That's actually not true. What happened in the Middle Ages is there was a question of when exactly was Mary preserved from her sin? Was it at the moment of her conception, or was it like she was conceived for a moment and then she was redeemed, right, and preserved? And there was some debate about that, and St. Thomas Aquinas was incorrect, right? And that was resolved. Basically, we believe as Catholics that the merits of Christ's redeeming act on the cross is not limited by time. And so Mary, even in the moment of her conception, already received the effects of that saving grace of the cross. She was saved and she was redeemed, but she never sinned and she never had the stain of original sin. So that's what we believe as Catholics. And there's a lot of people who take issues with this, and they think, it's not anywhere in the Bible. And you might not ever hear that word Immaculate Conception in the Bible, but that's because the word immaculate, it comes from Latin, right? And so if we're reading the Bible in English, we won't see it, right? In the letter to the Ephesians, for example, it talks about the church being without stain. That means the church being immaculate. So there is a human and divine aspect of the church. The human aspect of the church is not free from stain, but the divine aspect of the church is. It is immaculate. Some of it's also blurred because when we're reading the Bible in English, sometimes it comes down to how the Bible is translated. In this passage of the angel Gabriel appearing to Mary, for example, Many modern English translations will say that he greets her by saying, "Hail, favored one." What exactly does that mean? Favored one. Any of us could be favored ones before God. But in the Greek version of the New Testament, it says that Mary is full of grace. It's this Greek word that's a perfect passive participle, basically meaning like you are now full of grace and you have always been full of grace. Sometimes people might even be confused because in the Acts of the Apostles, like if you talk to a non-Catholic who's very knowledgeable of the Bible, they say that Stephen was said to be full of grace as well in the Acts of the Apostles. And that's only in English. In Greek, it's a different phrase that is used. So even the angel Gabriel, when he greeted Mary, he recognized that she was full of grace, and she had always been full of grace. If somebody is full of grace, that means there's literally no room for any sin within them. They're full of grace. There's no room for anything else. And so we see that in this gospel reading today. Now, why? Why is Mary preserved from original sin? Why did God choose to give her that grace from the moment of her conception? As Catholics, what we say that God didn't have to do this necessarily. God can do what he wants. But he chose to do this because he wanted to signify the fact that Mary is the beginning of a new creation in the human race. That basically, as Adam and Eve were the beginnings of humanity, and they caused humanity to fall into sin and be separated from God, so when God was going to redeem the human race, he sent a new Adam and a new Eve. The New Testament is very clear that Jesus was, in many ways, a new Adam. That through Adam, sin came in through the world, and so through this new Adam, the world is redeemed from sin. And Mary is a part of this. Just as there was a woman at the beginning of humanity, now there is a woman at the new creation of humanity. The redeemed human race, which we call the church. Just as Jesus was born through the womb of Mary, so everybody who is baptized into Christ in a mystical way is reborn as well through Mary. She is our mother because Christ is her son. And when we are baptized, we are remade, reborn into Christ. So in a mystical way, she is our mother. That's the logic behind this Feast of the Immaculate Conception. Now, one last thing I just want to share about this solemnity is something for us to be keeping in mind as we go throughout the solemnity, and we should be celebrating it as a solemnity. This isn't just a day that we have to go to church. It's a day we should be celebrating, should be going out to breakfast or something, right? Something to celebrate the solemnity. And as I was preparing for this today, I was reminded of something that happened to me just a couple weeks ago. And some of you know, because I mentioned it before, that it's not that uncommon for priests to get called from random people in the community because they're experiencing some paranormal things, right? Either in their life or in their homes. And this just happened a couple weeks ago. I was asked to come and bless somebody's home. And it was somebody who was experiencing some very strange things, right, in their house. Their children didn't want to sleep in the room because they kept hearing voices and seeing things. And eventually this person, she had a friend who was a very devout Seventh-day Adventist, right, who was very close to God in her faith, right? And so she came and stayed the night, and she said, we're going to pray all night, and we're going to pray to Jesus, we're going to read the Bible, it's going to be, we're going to get through this. And sure enough, this person came, and nothing changed. They still experienced the same things in this house. And so, of course, they called the Catholic priest. Right? Maybe he knows what to do. And I went, and we blessed the home, and we sang songs to Mary. And I don't believe anything else has happened since then. At least I haven't heard anything happening in the house. Another story is a friend of mine, basically he first taught me this because he had a similar situation going on up in, I won't say the town, right, where he was from or where the priest is, but He said the same thing had happened to him before, that he would get called to houses. And one particular time he said he was called in and the people were so afraid they would not even go into the house with him. They opened the door and then they wouldn't even step in. And so the first thing he did when he went into the house was he started singing the Salve Regina, their traditional hymn to Mary. And the people told him afterwards, they said, Father, it was like as soon as you started singing that song, it was like all of our fears just vanished. We weren't afraid anymore. That's the power of Mary. Many non-Catholic Christians, they'll say, Catholics, why do you pay so much attention to Mary? Why do you pray to her so much? Why do you honor her so much? Don't you think it takes away from God's glory? Why don't you just go directly to him? The answer is that for some reason, God has chosen to give Mary this special place in salvation history. God technically did not need a mother when he became a human being. He technically didn't even need to become a human being to redeem us. And yet he chose to be born of a woman. He chose to redeem the human race through a human being. In the Gospel of John, it says that when Jesus was asked to perform his first miracle, he was asked by Mary. God chose to give Mary this special place in salvation history. And he chose to give her this special power. Many statues of Mary, you'll see her standing on a serpent, right, crushing the serpent's head. It's because she does. And that's what exorcists talk about. If you read some of their books or you watch their interviews, right, on the internet, they talk about this immense power of Mary, that it's like as soon as you bring Mary into things, the demons become completely powerless. It's not because God needs Mary. God is so much more powerful than she is. But for some reason, he has chosen to give her this special place in salvation history and in the church today. She is the powerhouse of our faith. If you have a special prayer intention, if you have somebody who needs spiritual protection, if you're trying to pray for somebody's conversion, there's nobody better than to ask the intercession of Mary. She is the greatest creation God ever made. And he has given her this specific place and honor to be our greatest